St. Catharines, which is 10 minutes from Niagara Falls and Canada. And thank you for Teresa and Ali for the opportunity to give me a chance to come and share with you guys how Alcoholics Anonymous has changed my life. The only reason I am here tonight with you guys is power of prayer. I picked up topic because I remember I used to go, my parents from Iran, we are from Iran, and my parents heard about my problem in Iran, and they came to Canada and take me back home. And they came first week, everything was okay. Second week, I started missing a couple of days. I asked one day, I said, my dad, I'm going there, I'll be back in a couple of hours. Couple of hours, I missed for a couple of days. And after 2 days I came, they thought it was an accident. But this repeatedly happened, second time again after a few days. And reminds me of that joke. One guy had a dementia and he goes to the doctor and he says, I have a problem. He said, what kind of problem? He says, when I say something, after 2-3 days, I forget about it. The doctor asked him, how long have you had this problem? He said, what problem? So my father, the second time when I was missing, I came back after a couple of days. He said, sit down, son, you're 37 years old. I'm your father, you're my son. Your word should be something. You're a businessman, you're supposed to be your father of 2 kids. And when you say 2 hours, what happened? 2 days. He says, how long have you had this problem? I said, what problem? so that reminds me of that joke. So I used to miss for a couple of days when I went, and I come home after 2 days. I see my mother. I live with my parents, 37 years old, and I see my mother on her knees pray. I would be so humiliated and embarrassed that how could somebody with that age come on her knees and pray? But the only reason I'm here because of that prayer, power of that prayer. I didn't know that at that time, but I'm so grateful for that today. And same thing happened when I came to AA. I was absolutely powerless. I had lost my dignity, my self-respect, respect of others, my reputation, my business, my wife, my children, my license, my cars, everything. And it's unbelievable how long I kept going. But for the grace of God, I didn't know what to do. And I guess my mother's prayer answered, and I found AA somehow, which we'll get into it later. Born in Iran, I came here when I was 22 years. I was athletic. I was a professional volleyball player. I played for a Iranian national team. And sport was the only sport. I had a low self-esteem. I was a people pleaser. I came from a very healthy home. Every kid's dream to be where I lived, where the parents I had, educated, all these things, and the house, maids, everything. So, but when I was a little, I didn't know at the time, I was looking back, when I was grade 1, something happened with my perception. I started thinking to be not good enough. I started being shy, insecure, very low self-esteem, antisocial, and I was different than from my family. So life goes on. The only place I felt good when I went to gym. Anything I did, I had to do either to the extreme or I don't like it. I go to play volleyball. In short time, I become a national player. I get in music. In a short time, I have 1,100 cassettes. Like little kids, 17, 18 years old. I knew how to manipulate my uncles, cousins, my grandparents, both sides, how to get what I want. So I had a lot of emotional problems since I was a kid, and 21 years old, I decided to come to Canada. One day, I saw one guy, and the revolution was happening in Iran, and I saw one guy right across. My father is an engineer. He had a construction company. I went to see him. I came down, I saw one guy right across from our company. And I asked him, I said, hello, and he says, I said, what's going on? He said, yeah, I'm going to Canada. Yeah, where is it? I got some information. He said, why don't you ask your dad? We come together. we go together. I said, okay. I asked my dad. My dad said, sure, I finance you. You could go. So I came to. I didn't fit in with my family, my own people, my own country band, cousins, uncles there. You could imagine coming to Toronto and in the airport. I felt out of the place. I was full of fear. I had an anxiety. Now my parents send me here. They have expectation to go to school and to become someone. So for 8 months, I never talked to anybody. All my own community, my Iranian people. And I was afraid to go close to people. After 8 months, I got accepted to Brock University in St. Catharines, close to Niagara Falls. I went to Brock, and that's game changer. I met friends. I started joining the volleyball team. After volleyball team, we decided to go to have a few drinks. I didn't know. First day I went, I had a iced tea or Coke. They had a beer. I saw the transformation after a few beers, how the people change, dance, have fun. And I'm sitting in the corner. I said, God, how do they do these things? And now I went home. Second time they asked me to go, I thought it was boring to go there, but I went there. They were promoting Labatt's Blue beer. Somebody offered me a beer, and for some reason I took it. Believe it or not, from that day, my life changed. I thought I went to heaven. I had the courage to ask the girls to dance. All of a sudden, I started socializing. I thought I spoke better English, and it's amazing. I thought I liked alcohol, but I found out later that I liked the effect produced by alcohol. That's how it started. I fell in love every day for 17 months. Every day. I passed in my 3 months, I believe I passed that invisible line. My capacity to drink was more than my friends, everybody. So 17 months, I went broke. My father gave me, I was supposed to be for 7 years university, living well. And in 17 months, I was broke. I started borrowing my friends, $10,000, $20,000 that his father gave him same money, but he kept his mine, but I spent mine. And so one day my parents called, they said they're coming to visit. That I start shaking a little bit. I decided to go to Toronto. I went, I got a job right away. I had to replace that money, and I forgot about school, and I got work in the industry, and I worked for 3.5 years. Every day I delivered pizza for 80 hours a week. I saved money. I got a penthouse. My parents were coming. They saw everything good. I said, I got furniture at this place. So I met someone, fell in love with me. But when I was drinking, that's amazing that my personality absolutely changed. I became so selfish. I started lying. I started becoming a different person. I started using people. And that when you have developed that behavior and those character defects and you get married, I didn't want to get married because deep inside, I knew that I'm not capable of loving somebody. I didn't love myself. I was not capable of loving anybody. So I believe when we got married, me and my wife, we had only one thing in common. We both were in love with the same guy. And that, if you live like it, doesn't work like that. And I got involved in jewelry business. I had saved a lot of money, and we started manufacturing jewelry. All of a sudden, short period of time, I met my friends from school. They were getting married, engaged. I came back to St. Catharines, and things started picking up. But I started going to bars to promote my business. Idea was good, but the wrong place. I started drinking again. All of a sudden, I started where I left off. I drank more than ever. I start drinking now. I go to bar. I used to move around, promote business, but all of a sudden I'm stuck in the corner. I'm doing for drinking. So anyways, we got married, I started developing big credit with my suppliers, and success came very quick. And alcoholics, that you cannot handle success. I blew it. I started 1988, I got introduced to substance, and which took another avenue, and I took up. And my disease progressed so fast, but somehow I was functioning, I was doing business. But what happened, 1992, first time I got caught. Bailiff came to the store. They seized, we had 9 people working inside. They seized the merchandise, they closed everything. They kicked us out and they changed the lock. That was the first red light. And I lost my house that day, and my wife and children went to Niagara Falls, New York. That's where they were from, she was from. And that was 1992. I owed that time to people, $485,000, first time. But I couldn't listen. I would never take suggestions. I would do anything I want, whenever I want, whoever I want to. So I kept doing the same thing. I found some people, they put $300,000. I'm doing the same thing. I'm good for a while. After 1 month, same thing, slowly. I didn't know what the problem was. And same thing. Believe it or not, that bailiff came to my store 4 times. Each time he came to my store, took my store, it cost me $300,000. That last time, I owe people $1.3 million. This time my father came from Iran. He hadn't seen me for 11 years. He couldn't believe the person he saw. I'm in trouble with law. That we read the page 30 in our group in Sundays. He said, we are in a grip of progressiveness. Over a considerable period, we get worse, never better. That's true. That's exactly what happened between 1992 and 1995. It's amazing how things that was so abnormal to me became normal. For example, fight in the bar. I don't know how to fight even. It's what I would get. I would come home with the black eyes. I would drink. I get in blackouts. I don't know what I say to who I say something. Sometimes wrong place, wrong people. You say the wrong thing, you get the wrong result. And you come home with the black eye. That's what's happening to me more often. I was to jail. I was paranoid to go to court. People start suing me, and I don't show up in court. Bailiff comes, takes me to jail. First time I went to jail, that was embarrassing. Second time, it was not bad. Third time I go there, I knew what to do, grab a bed and lay down and grab a book or something to read. Fourth time, everybody knew my name. So I was building a reputation in the wrong place. And things were getting tough. My father came, everything changed. They started chasing me. They found me from places that you wouldn't put your dog there. Friends have changed. My play association changed. We used to go to Sheridan Falls View, right by the falls, and that was $1,600 a night. We used to go there at the beginning. Now I am hanging around in a space motel that's $10 a night with 20 people in one room. It's called Crack House. It's amazing how life starts and going down, down, and down. And my parents came, no matter where I went, they found me and they brought me home. And I'm coming home, I said, God, get me out of this. I never do it again. But after 3-4 days, I forget the humiliation I went through a few days ago. And same thing. That's the only way I knew. So they say, we knew we had to change. I knew I had to change. I just didn't know how. Where do you go? Where do you start? Who do you reach out? So what happened is that thing happened. They say, you've got to hit the bottom. One day I went to Niagara Falls, same room, same people, gangsters, drugs, all kinds of things. And I'm sitting there, and this time I'm sitting there, but I'm embarrassed. I don't fit in, but my behavior does. I'm like other people. But what happened, I finished all my money. I used my credit. I sold my car for $100 crack. I sold my wedding band. I sold my watch. And amazing thing that happened, I got kicked out of the crack house. That was the bottom for me. I'm in Lundy's Lane and walking around and I can't believe what these things doesn't happen to me, other people. You see it in the movies. I'm homeless. My parents changed the lock. I was not allowed to go their home no more. And they said, if you're sick, if you want to go get the help, they told me about detox. I kept it in my head. I kept walking to it. That's 4.5 hours walk from Niagara Falls to St. Catharines. I walked there and they gave me food. I took a shower. They gave me bed. As I was eating, I realized that people talking about recovery, the sobriety, the words that I've never heard before. Some people talking about I'm sober 20 years, 15 years. And believe it or not, that was the worst place I have ever slept in my life. But that was I thought I found something. I didn't know what it was, but I knew answer is here. And I slept that night, the best sleep I've ever had in so long. And they were talking about treatment. I put my name in treatment. I always good starter. I never finish anything. But grace of God, I was supposed to stay sober for 2 months on my own. They called me. 5 days I was in detox. I went home. After 6 days, they called. Every day I was struggling, that mental obsession, physical. I wanted to drink one more time, one more time. They called me. They said, there's a cancellation. Would you like to go Monday? I'm going there Monday. I'm so out of it. I don't know why am I there. So what happened, as I was walking in, God put somebody there, exactly what I needed. I had no hope. I had no purpose to live. I had lost my ambition. And as I was walking in treatment, I saw one guy. I used to see him in the crack house. This guy used to carry a gun. He was a drug dealer. He used to beat people up. He used to go in and out of jail, rob the jewelry store, rob the banks. This is the guy I say, if I get that bad, I quit. I saw him coming out of treatment. He says, Saeed, I just did my session 28 days. Believe it or not, he says, I am 45 days clean. That, I looked at him, I couldn't believe it. He was so nice to me. He was so mean before to everybody. The transformation, his personality, his attitude got my attention. I said, what happened to this guy? So he gave me his number. He says, when you get out of here, call me. We go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I said, okay. I kept that number. I was thinking of him every day. How did he do it? And also said, if he could do it, anybody could do it. I came out of treatment. I was in treatment. One day, I didn't believe in God. I knew about God, but I didn't have a relationship with God. I didn't believe in prayer. I never prayed. But what happened, you cannot read the book, understand the spiritual aspect of this program. You have to experience something. I was in a team. I was sitting in third week. I was sitting in treatment. I'm thinking of God. When I come out, there's warning for my arrest because I didn't show up in court again. And I owe people $1.3 million. Everybody calling my parents home. My mind was consumed with that 24 hours. I hated everybody in treatment because I was judging people. All of a sudden, I was sitting there in my third week. A feeling came to me that I never experienced something like that. Everything is gonna be okay. I felt good. I didn't know what it was. I found out later on, God took that obsession to drink away from me that day. I came out of treatment. I called the guy from Crack House. He came, picked me up. He was a big guy. So when I sat beside his car, I was afraid to go outside. I was isolated for so long. I was paranoid going outside. I thought everybody's following me. When I sat in his car beside him, I felt so comfortable. I felt nobody's going to touch me. He's with me. I used him for higher power for so long. He didn't even know that. He carried me to meetings. I went to meetings. I sat down. I fell in love with AA from the day one. I was lucky that I fell in love. I loved it. I was hiding AA for 7 months. Every day in the morning, I go, I come back, somebody else. I did no license, so I start asking for help from people. I go with one car, I come in another car. I Everybody knows me in AA in Niagara region because I've been everybody's car and for 5 years. And when you're every car, you learn a lot. Everybody is an example, what to be, what not to be. But as I was going to meetings, I realized that there was one guy, I was so lucky. I saw one guy, he was so spiritual. He was a God person. Everybody loved him. When he talked, everybody listened. I had the courage to ask him to be my sponsor. I was attracted to the way he lived, the way he conducted his business, and he had a reputation. I wanted to be like him. I asked him to be my sponsor. He said, sure. I didn't know why I asked him, but I found out that his spirit, he was a big book. You didn't have to say anything. Just watch him, how he treats his wife, how he treated people with respect. He had a gift of lifting people up. You know, some people give energy, some people take energy. He was the guy who gave energy. I asked him. He started having a big book study, and he asked me to be in it. I was 3 months sober. I didn't know what big book or small book is, but I said, I was a people pleaser. I said, sure, I'll be in. I got in, and what happened is I was 4 months sober. Few business opportunity came from, I have lost my store by this time. So I was 7 months unemployed. So I was spending all day with AA people, all day, 7, 8 hours a day. That's where I felt power. When I go home, phone is ringing, 20, I lose, like it make me flat tire. So few business opportunity came. All of a sudden I saw a few $1,000s in my pocket. That's amazing. If you don't spend it, the money starts growing. And I asked the guy from Crack House, that I asked him, we were talking, I said, it would be nice to have a jewelry store again, Christmas time you could make a lot of money. He turned around to me, he said, you know what, I could make a store for you. I looked at him, I just remember like yesterday, his tattoos I saw in his arm, and he said, there's 7 billion people in the planet. If somebody possibly could be helpful to me to make a store, his name would be the last one. But believe it or not, we came out, I saw a place for rent, and we could pay first month, last month rent. He took me place. We bought some furniture from here and there. My place of business became like an AA meeting. Everybody hanging around my store all day. Somebody comes, does some showcases together. Somebody does painting. AA people put my store together. Unbelievable. You could plan. You could be scientists. You could be economists. You couldn't plan something like that. God put so many good people in my path. I was there Sunday. I had a problem with God. 3 months I was sober. I realized that in one meeting. There is two types of people. People have that God connection. They have higher power. There's others that they seem to be strong. They seem to have serenity, peace. Here's another side, people like me. Their life is a chaos. They're fighting with somebody in their head. They're getting even with somebody all the time. And I came home, my parents, I closed the door on the 6th floor. I put the chair in the back. Nobody would come to the room. I closed the blinders. First time I start praying. I said, God, please help me. I didn't know what I was doing, but my sponsor said, what do you have to lose by trying? Because I saw the result of the prayers and the people have that connection in other people's life. I said, what do I have? I tried. Believe it or not, from that day up to now, my dry day is May 26, 1995. I just passed 25 years. Believe it, I have never missed a prayer in the morning, and I pray at night, and many times between. If you're in my situation, when I open the store, people know where I am now. All the creditors know where I am. And believe it or not, when I started praying, I lost the fear of people. I was paranoid of people when I see people. I lost my fear. It was all here. More I depend on God, more I depend on in my own head. Because when I go there, I'm paralyzed. My intelligence goes away. So I start praying and praying. I got some oxygen in that I could make some sane decisions. So slowly, Christmas came. I opened the store and started rolling again. And it's amazing how I showed up every day. We used to do this job with 10 people. We started with 2 people. And we started doing the same thing. And I started slowly paying the people back. And because I had no expenses, no car, no insurance, no mortgage, nothing, I'm living with my parents for so I started paying those people that back. So, and it's amazing. I saw that by doing that. There was a word going in Toronto, Saeed is changed. There was one guy from Hungary, they said, I owed him that much, like compared to that one, I owed him 6,000, 7,000, I don't remember. And he said, you know what, I'm from Europe, people don't change. We have saying in Hungary, you cannot make a steak from a dog meat. But that is not true. It's Alcoholics Anonymous has made it real, that change possible for me. And I came to the meeting. I wanted to have what my sponsor had, that spiritual connection, that spirituality, that manner that he lived. But I realized that in order to have that, you have to come to believe first something. So I came to believe in the meetings because my sponsor believed on his belief. I kept coming. After a while, I believed that change is possible. I was seeing things were happening that never happened before. And all of a sudden, I was feeling different. I had a hope. I was excited again in life. I had an ambition again. And I was hungry again. And it's amazing. I kept going. And eventually, I wanted to be in control all the time. I wanted to be in charge. That's why Big Book says, God, life run itself well. Always you'll be in collisions with someone or somebody, even if your motives are right. That was me. Every day. It's not the first customer, second customer. It's not second, third customer will get me. Somebody will get me that day because I was sitting on top of the nail. I was restless, irritable, dyskinesic all my life. And all I need a little thing and boom, I'm gone. Believe it or not, last 25 years, not one person has walked out of my store, one, to say, you know what, Saeed, I'm not coming back here no more. That is a miracle. Maybe for average businessman is nothing, but where I come from, that is a miracle. My reputation has changed. My situation in the community, as I have become a productive member of community, respect of my suppliers. People look at me as a priest, they call me in the thing. These are things impossible in my own self, but never. I made the decision one day that I came to allow that God work in my life too. And I did that. And when I had the opportunity to look at the power of step 4, I found out what is wrong with me, why people don't trust me, why people don't respect me, why my relationship lasts a very short time, why don't like to be seen with me. One time, all my friends used to come to St. Catherine's, people with the red carpet because they used to get respect because of me. All of a sudden, they're embarrassed to be seen with me. And I had such a resentment for all my friends that they didn't want to be seen with me no more. They used to be proud to be with me all the time. Now, I found out that it has something to do with my selfishness, my dishonesty, my lack of consideration of others. And therefore, I found out, I found out, I sat down with my sponsor where I'm sitting in my office, and believe it or not, that day, my life, I always, even I've been in program for so long, I still was a people pleaser. I still had some stuff inside that was making me feel less than you, not to, but then that day when I did my step 5 with my sponsor, I felt that freedom. I started having personality change, how I look at life. And The most important thing that day when I did that, I came out of that meeting. My sponsor, I believed him. I trusted him. I looked at him as that was my higher power for so long. He said to me, you know what, Saeed? God has forgiven you. Look at the person you have become. You're helping other people. My place of business, when I opened, as we were doing big book studying, I gave for that purpose. So every Tuesday night, we get 10, 12 people in my office in the back, and we start in September, we finish in April. And we go from the beginning of the book to the at least on the 64 page. Also, we go through Joe McHugh's steps we took by Joe McHugh. So that's 24 weeks. So that guarantees me that I'm gonna read the big book at least once a year. So they say if your big book is in a good shape, there's a good chance you're not. But my big book is a little bit used, and every year I get a little bit better. Every year I got it. Next year we do the big book study. I said, God, what was I talking about last? I must have been crazy. That's amazing. Every year I grow. And my character defects, I found out it's a lot of my behaviors overnight. There was a process. First, I have become aware of it. And then after a while, I asked God, please help me to get right. And because I see that He was causing me to have in my relation with others. I would never be had a relation with people for longer than such short period. I've been with my wife for over 20 years. When I share in a podium about in AA Alcoholics Anonymous, my wife doesn't know me from before. She thinks I'm making these things up. It's impossible. She doesn't believe that I'm exaggerating, she thinks. But that's true. That this change, a psychic change, personality change has happened to me. I can't believe I'm the same person. I have my relationship with I was 10 years sober. I realized one day, December 25th, 2005, I just realized that, oh my God, I'm a free man. I don't have one person from my past that if I see him on the street, I have to say, I'm sorry, I hurt your feeling. What a freedom. The guy, I used to go to the building 36th floor. I couldn't take the elevator because I was afraid to run into people, to my suppliers. I walked 36th floor and I walked 36th floor back the stairs. So imagine what kind of fear I lived. Now I go at dinner every Monday night with those people that I was running away from them. I rebuilt my relationship. The guy used to, I'm not in to brag about, but it's just saying that these things are possible. One day, we went to one of my suppliers, diamond dealer. He called me in Toronto. He says, come on, I will talk to you. I went there. He heard about me, that I have changed. And when I pay people, he said, come on. I went there. This guy kicked me out of his office in 1994 because of my attitude. Arrogant attitude I had. This guy gave me $1 million diamonds. I signed. I walked out of his office. I was walking in Yonge Street in downtown Toronto, and I started crying. I said, wow, my Savior, how is this possible? God, Alcoholics Anonymous gave me that opportunity. Where would I go to have that tremendous change in my life? How would I develop my relationship and community, my supply, get back to business again? And that's amazing. That I met someone 20 years ago. 5 years I was single. I worked on me. I made my sponsor said, working yourself, make your life manageable, that you could share that manager with someone. I was ready to have a relationship. I didn't know where to go. I don't want to go to meet someone in the bar. I don't fit in the mosque. I don't fit in the church. Where do I go? He says, God, ask Saeed, pray God, says God, if it's your will, help me meet somebody my type. That was my prayer for 6 months. Somebody walked in my store on her own feet. She came. I thought that was the one. I didn't know where that came from. She was from my country, same background, same unbelievable. And we became a friend. Prior to this, I knew I'm not a relationship person. I didn't know. All my relationships failed. So prior to this, I was involved with the take that was how do you develop healthy, functional relationships? Where do you start? How do you start? Where do you go? How to step by step? I got that tape. I kept listening. I kept listening. I listened. I memorized. And when I met this person, I went exactly what they said. Became a friend for 3 months. After 3 months, we became a boyfriend, girlfriend. We got engaged. We got married. And it became, she's my best friend. She I don't go anywhere without her. Everything I do with her. I have my friends in AA. I have my time at meetings. I time with her. We have time with the friends. It's amazing how I balance this. I wouldn't know how to balance these things. And that's amazing. Me and her, we work together. And that's life has changed. So in the community, I involved with a lot of people. I work. My store is in downtown St. Catharines. Every day I have at least 5 to 10 people in AA contact. So those people brought me to the center, middle of the AA. So I'm not hanging around the edge that I could go either way. So they keep me busy. I learn from them how to be unselfish to them. They keep me out of myself. A lot of times I have some problems. They come here and they sit down there. I forget about a lot of my problems. We're busy with them. Constantly, I'm thinking of them. I pray in the morning. I catch myself. I pray in the car. I swim 3 kilometers. I catch myself praying and swimming. Me and my wife, we go walk 14 kilometers. During the pandemic, we did every day. And we walk, we pray. I catch myself pray. I meditate. It's amazing. Life has changed. I remember when I opened the store, I saw a customer coming in. Thank you, Saeed. Pleasure. Bye. Pleasure doing business with you. Boom. Job's done. I open the store. I show up every day. I come at 8:30. I leave at 6 every day. And I came to my father. I said, Dad, this store has better customers. He said, of course, what do you expect? Those people from crack houses. These people come from church. But these had nothing to do with the church or crack house. I was doing what I was asked to do. I was opening every day. I get $5,000 deposit from somebody, engagement. I haven't even started. The guy calls, he rent a limo and he make a reservation for a restaurant for this evening. The ring hasn't even started. An afternoon, I get a couple of $1,000. I close the door, I leave for a couple of days. And you can imagine how angry people would get. And I don't do stuff like that no more. We have a 5-star jewelry store. That it's how that is possible. The comments they make, how nice. Sometimes even I lose. I know customer is wrong. I was 11 months sober. My ex-wife came to me, brought the children for visitation. Of course, I was supposed to visit while her sober. She came here, she started me off, and I'm new, I'm sick. Then I respond, we get in an argument. We're supposed to be visitation with the children. We call each other's name for 2 hours. And here I am sober, 11 months. She got up, she said, you were no good when you were sober, you're no good, you're drunk. The same, nothing has changed. I felt that ball again in my stomach. I felt so guilty. And what happened is I called my sponsor and I said, do you know what, Dad? My sponsor, I said, I'm gonna ask him not to come here no more. He said, why? He says, I shared with him what happened. He said, Saeed, are we going to the same meetings? I said, what do you mean? He says, Saeed, when you come to AA, you stop fighting, you stop arguing, you don't have to have the last word no more. Believe it or not, that was the last day 24 years ago, not 2 months. That's the last time I had cursed. I haven't heard a curse from my mouth. I have I haven't argued with anybody for 24 years. I stopped. That miracle. How that how do I do that? So through prayer and meditation. Lots of times I don't know what to do. I want to say something, but I know I can't. Because if I do, I know how am I going to feel after. And I believe my time is up. And I don't know where my biggest fear is that if there was an AA, where I might be able to stop drinking or drugging, but the transformation in personality, psychic change, impossible. I will never, this is a school that never ends. That's the beauty of it. That's a journey. That's no destiny. If it was destiny, I wouldn't be here today. I would be in 2 weeks and gone. But I'm so glad to be with my friends here tonight and share my experience and hope with you. Thank you for listening.